All right, welcome back, everybody. Really wasn't sure what to show off. I figured I'd show off my little workshop here. It's in between the builders building. This is where we store uh, like building materials and stuff like that. And then this is the sawmill and the charcoal pit kiln things down there. The first bloomeries, the windmill, and then there's the house back there. So over here, I built this workshop, kind of as a place to condense an area where I can store some materials to make specific things. So I think we're making like the crates and barrels and uh, candles and lanterns and stuff like that in here. We've got the ingredients to do all that stuff. Oh yeah, candles and candle holders and all that. So um, this really doesn't serve an actual purpose other than just being because there's no like workstation for carpentry or anything like that. So this really serves no purpose other than being a storage building. But I do this. It is nice to be able to stand here and look at the stuff and grab what you need to make it real fast versus going to like a big warehouse and having to find the right crate and everything. I just thought this was a nice little way to solve my problem that I was having. Real big fan of the way I tackled this one. I think this is the building where I kind of solidified how I wanted to do things for the most part. I do still get a little crazy with it sometimes to experiment, just in case I find something new and cooler to do. I just noticed this beam is crooked. Holy fuck, that pisses me off. Oh my god. Oh, okay. Anyway, there's a lot about this that I like. For one, I like the brick corners with the daub being like brought into it, and then I like having the spotted brick around as if the daub has cracked away from the underlying brick structure of the building itself. And I also went with different colored bricks to kind of bleed into it to have a nice little color gradient. And then I chiseled the hell out of the archways instead of having actual doors. I just love doing arches. Really, I wish there was a way to incorporate a door into this a lot neatly, lot more neatly. I could do something like the way I did the cellar door, but then you'd have to make the build like, for lack of a better word, exponentially bigger compared to what it needs to be for what it's doing. So I felt like this was a pretty good compromise just to have the archways and not to throw a door or anything in it. This doesn't need to be like sealed against the elements or anything like that. I won't be spending my winters in here. There's no fireplace inside it anyway. It's really just a fancy storage building. Underneath, I did do some kind of wood thing to look like the shingles are being supported. I kind of replicated um, my usual gable approach with the shingles here, but I had this oak board going across the mid seam, and then I got some bricks again sprinkled in the daub. You can also see I got the daub kind of chiseled out with the shingles. Doesn't really look like it would make sense, but I felt like that was a nice little gradual stepping stone in between the flat of the daub on the gable and then the shingles themselves of the roof. You can't really see it from far away anyway, but I thought it was an interesting thing to have when you're walking around underneath. Probably could have saved myself some time and not done it. It just seemed like the thing to do at the time. But realistically, this thing that I'd done along the sides here, I should have replicated that up the gable in some form, but I did not. So, hindsight's 2020 and all that. Ladders, maybe these ladders are hanging up on the wall to be used somewhere. I have this staircase kind of just butted up against the wall of the structure itself because the staircase was here first, and then I made the building fit, which is kind of a common theme for me. Um, Barrel sitting outside, table, chair, an actual like in-game asset barrel, and then crates just to make it look like stuff is being stored here. And technically, the crates can be uh, used for storage. I wish you could add functionality to the barrels or something that I've chiseled, but right here you can see I got the tables, and then I have chiseled a tabletop and some legs with joinery pieces implied, like some holes and pivots and shit, to look like the table can be assembled into this guy right here. Probably could have went a little thinner on the border, but I was kind of a little lazy on it. I don't have any mods to make the chiseling easier. Then I got this awning over top, which really the roof kind of goes over this stuff. But I felt like having the awning right there kind of makes this stuff look more protected than what it actually actually would be in this situation. That's really not protecting anything, but it looks like it do. I'll show that piece in a second. This goes off to some other stuff that I will need to do a tour on. But over here, this is I guess it's really more like a Cooper building was my intent with it. But you can see that I got the table and the chiseled legs underneath here again. I've got some barrel hoops hanging up on the wall of various sizes, and then tools and barrels of stuff scattered around, cabinetry. Which realistically, like in other places, and I probably should go through here and do that in this case. Underneath your cabinets, you can break out a block and put down a crate or a chest or a trunk or something, and then you can actually utilize the cabinets as storage. But right here in this workbench, maybe it looks like we're using these metal beams or panels, this whatever you call it, bridging, and then the actual planks themselves are in this barrel, and maybe we're building a crate. And for this crate, I believe I used polished conglomerate and not actual metal, just as an example of doing it cheaper. You don't have to use metal to make things look like they're metal. Just a little example of that. And then tools hanging up. I got a little tool rack that's empty. Copy of that rack. And then all the resources for the crafting that we do in here is just elevated up above. Now, these bookshelves are probably going to be replaced with the cabinets in 122. And then I'll chisel some other tools and interesting bits and bobs to put on the various cabinets. I do get kind of lost in the sauce doing that kind of stuff. And then just some beams going across the roof with some other beams a little bit higher up, offset, so that way the ceiling doesn't have the ceiling doesn't have a lot of dead air underneath it, and it looks like it's occupied and busy, but not pointlessly so. So it looks structured. Pretty classic window design that I keep reusing. It's easy, cuts to the point. You can tell it's a window. It's simple. I just like doing it, and since I've already done so many of them, just being able to copy this out real quick and easy, or just even use copy and paste with creative mode and then throw some wood and glass away, just makes this way faster. And plus, it makes all the builds look cohesive because the windows are similar. So there's a cultural aspect ingrained into it. As a side note, you can also use shield hoops as barrel rings. So it's a little bit different of, like, this is what I was talking about in the main building discussion video. Different resolution in the assets. I could probably chisel something that small, but you can see this barrel hoop next to that is not that thin. So there's a discrepancy between the asset and what I have chiseled. But you can see how the shield hoop really does look like a circle and could be used to imply that this is a metal ring to go around a barrel, especially if you used to have it next to these guys here just hanging up as well. Classic shutter design, and then a staircase that goes down to some more stuff. Again, this is kind of envisioned as a coopery, Cooper station, a Cooper building, whatever you want to call it. So there's barrels out the ass. This one is one my wife chiseled. Acacia wood was an interesting choice, but it looks really fucking good, and it looks like it's unfinished, or maybe this one's broken or something, however you want to imply it. But I think that's a really neat color. It kind of looks like it's supposed to be a TNT barrel from like a Crash Bandicoot game or something. I actually don't think it had barrels, and I think it was crates in Crash Bandicoot, but somebody had a TNT barrel. I know there was a game that had a TNT barrel. I know I'm not tripping. Damn raccoons. More of that down here with some boards sitting next to it. This is the wood path, and this is just a board just set on the ground to look like it can be assembled. Another one of those small barrels, but also being put together. Old tools, empty barrel full of planks for, planking. And then I'm really I'm impressed with myself on this, honestly. I'm so happy about it. My wife brought the wine over for us to drink together while I was doing this, so I thought that was pretty neat. More windowage, and you can see that this side really does just replicate the other side with the way I did the gable and the cross section and the beams. And then I had this little awning coming off the side to hold the lantern, which we had one of these lanterns, so that's what went there. It's very colorful. Looks like a chameleon or something hanging there. But it's to hold that, to give it support, and then also to protect more of the rings and also the tools that are implied. Really, it's just a place for us to store tools, but they sit there to imply that we use them to make barrels. And so, like, here's the fire pits where you would like heat the stuff up and go about the process. There's more, like I said, the shield hoops leaning up against the wall, another big old ring just to make it look like these are components that go together to make the barrel, another barrel full of planks, wood paths set up around rings, and then also planks set up like this around the chiseled ring to make it look like you're about to start putting the barrels together. And I felt like having the production out, kind of like the construction building, even if you're doing it kind of out of order, having these things around in different stages of completion, just like when you're building a diorama. If you're like building a diorama of a factory, you'd have an assembly line, and at one end things are done or mostly done, and then at the very beginning of it, there's unfinished parts being added. So the idea here is to, instead of, it's not an assembly line in this example, but to have the mechanisms of that assembly line laid out so you can see them. This down here fundamentally does nothing for us. There's no storage happening down here, I guess, except for the tools. It's really just decorative and storytelling, and to really solidify what this building does from a storytelling perspective. And again, I'm going harder in the paint because I am presenting stuff to people now, because I am showing it off on Reddit and YouTube and everything. You don't have to go this in depth in your world. I just like to do it because it makes it feel more lived in, and like I'm playing a game. So like when I'm not out, gallivanting or caving or farming, I want to chisel stuff. And so I'm like, oh, well, that would be cool to see, and I'll see if I can do it. And then I do it, and then I look at it, and then I show you, and now look, we're looking at it. Thank you. So there's my thoughts on that. I guess that's really all I got to show about it. It's a really quick, simple build. Hopefully you guys get enough of a gander at it that you could maybe emulate. I don't want to say replicate, but this trick, chiseling your bricks with your daubs and having that mixed in, I'm a huge fan. It makes me stutter. I'm a huge fan of it. I think it does a lot of good work. But yeah, that's everything. Really quick and simple. I'm trying to do this in like chronological order. I'm not sure which build I'm going to do next. If there's something that you've spotted in the background that you want me to do something on and it's not in one of the other videos, or if it's something I've covered already but you want me to cover it again, giggity, but in more detail, let me know and I will do so. I'm a pretty easy flowing kind of guy. I definitely try to help out when people ask questions, and if people give suggestions, I do take them to heart. In fact, this building right here, the Salt Graduation Tower, is something that was suggested to me by somebody that commented on a video. So if there's something that you think would be cool to see in Vintage Story, let me know, and I will try to build it. But anyway, again, thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks to everybody who has subscribed and continues to comment and engage with me on this. All of you guys are so very cool. I think this might be my quickest video, honestly. So thank you guys for sticking around for it. Have a great day.